All right, guys, welcome back to the Home Dogs Podcast.
Let's go.
I'm Matty, your host.
I'm the
and
bear.
I'm here with the bear.
The bear.
Adam Barry's here from Bear Process Safety.
That's right.
Straight from work?
Straight from work. Yeah.
Oh, man, this guy.
Yeah, straight
he's
from
all,
work.
Look at it. He's all
I don't dress like
marketed
this
up.
all the time.
Look,
Just
your logo is, we're live streaming right now. Your logo
right.
is right above your head.
logo's right above me. I see that.
Man, logo's on you, right above you,
That's
all
right.
that.
It's right here. We got it on that. Got the
We got it in
recruiting
front of
hat.
us? Yeah,
Got the
we got it everywhere.
recruiting
I got it
hats
on the
going.
cup.
That's right.
Man.
It's
All right,
it's amazing
so-
what money will do for you, boys.
So you've been making money, huh?
Making some money.
Not just with the day job, maybe with a little bit of the side action. I
Maybe
don't
a
know.
little bit on the weekends. Maybe
Okay.
now.
That's good for one of us.
We're gonna throw some bonus picks out there because my official picks. We'll see the standings in a little bit, but
Okay.
But in any case,
The standings are on the live stream right
Okay.
now, so
All right.
we're actually on our Facebook Home Dogs Podcast on Facebook, and we're on our Twitter account, and we're on our One Team One Podcast YouTube account.
awesome.
So we're on a whole bunch of different platforms where you can watch us live right now and get your picks for the weekend. But Bear Process Safety, tell me a little bit about Bear Process Safety. You're sponsoring 3 podcasts now, so tell me about Bear and what you guys are doing right now.
So we're all about right now with our strategy is getting our name out there in the community, but really what we're doing is making the community safer. We had a meeting today where we were talking to some clients and just introducing them to what we do. Meeting went phenomenal. As you guys have said before, we live in Baton Rouge. We care about Baton Rouge, so that's a big part of our business. But national and international projects we work on, dealing with process safety, compliance situations, sometimes some occupational incident reviews, those sort of things. So for any industrial guys out there at the plant, your EHS managers, your engineers who need a PHA, if you're listening and you know what that is, then you know you don't want to do it. You call Bear Process Safety. We are about efficiency. Our tagline is safety made simple.
I like that. Safety made simple.
Safety made simple.
And making our community safer.
That's
I like
right.
those lines. I'm a marketing guy, man. Those are
that's what we're all about.
We can put those in a commercial.
We
I'm
live
just saying.
here, so it's important for our community to be protected.
It is. And now Jeremy Norick texted me the other day, and he said, hey, I'm just letting you know, the Bear has like cornered BASF.
That's right. We do. So BSF, we actually have some projects starting soon. Jeremy knows.
I told him, I said, I'm taking full credit for it, even if it happened or not. So
We'll give you credit. It's fine.
Good,
We'll give you
good.
credit for it. But yeah, if anybody's out there needs us or even wants sort of a partner, maybe you do something we don't do that connects with us, if that's controls, if that's auditing, if that's engineering, we're always looking for partners that we can push, and we like to push the best in Baton Rouge. So
good, man. All right, This is
Let's
what we're
get
going to do,
let's
guys.
get
We're going
down to it.
We got to recap. We got to recap, and if you can see it down at the bottom of the screen, it wasn't a great week for you boys.
No.
Brandon's sitting on top right now at 3-3. If that tells you anything, you've got that push from week 1, so it's 2-3-1 for
Fat
you.
Randy got me.
Fat Randy is your push. We're gonna remember that push for the rest of the year.
That we are.
That one is
We
gonna
are.
be there.
It's gonna be terrible. I was so mad about it. We were watching the Saints game, and that game was on CBS, I think. And
Yeah.
driving late, I'm following it on my phone and Gamecast, and the Saints were in an important drive, so we didn't change over. And then all of a sudden, it was like game over, didn't score. I'm like, what? What happened? What? And
Wait, they were on the 15.
yeah, they were on,
What's going on?
What's happening? And missed no, they were on like the 3,
Yeah, it was.
and it was terrible.
Was it that close?
He missed like a 30-yarder. So it was pretty close.
Yeah, that was pretty close.
Might have been 10-15, but anyway, you're
All
paid
right.
you're paid money to kick it. You
Yeah,
gotta kick
and
that thing.
I had a let's just call it a terrible week last week. I had I went 0-3 on my three picks
Womp womp.
last week. But when we talk about you were just asking me before we did this, is our dog of the week counted in this? And I said no, but I think it should be, because I hit my dog of the week again. So Marshall plus 4.5. I hit that.
You did
thing.
hit that.
It
watched them
won.
that game.
I mean,
it won.
That's
It won.
That's 2 in a row
That's
that I've
right.
hit.
Who were your other picks?
Pitt, minus 19.5
You
against Syracuse.
You got bit by the Syracuse bug again.
I bet for Syracuse, and then I bet against Syracuse.
Dino Baber started slinging it with the backup quarterback.
Dino's sticking it to me right now.
And
I had Duke minus 5.5.
Yeah,
I kept texting y'all, and I was like, "What am I missing with Boston College?"
I told you, I was like, "I don't know what we missed, but we missed it for sure. It was bad."
So then I had Saints minus 5.5, which was brutal as well.
R.I.P. We know what happened there.
Yes, we did. And I was kind of. I followed Brandon a little bit, B-Stew on that one a little bit too. So, but you had Georgia Tech plus 7.5.
I had Georgia Tech.
They were looking pretty. At the very beginning of the game.
Start of the fourth quarter, we cut it to 7, and I'm thinking, okay, we've had 4 turnovers.
Yeah.
We might be in this thing. And they proceeded to turn the ball over 2 more times and get scored 28 straight against. But I know y'all talked about it this week. We're going to have some more picks on Georgia Tech because the running back looks good. Sims looks good.
The quarterback looks good. Those are 2 true freshmen. Man, they got a little foundation there.
That's right. So this week, I know you don't want to bet the game because Syracuse, we might talk about it a little bit later.
Yep.
But
I knew we would.
But 6 turnovers were just brutal every time they were about to score.
Okay, so then your next one was Ravens minus 7.5.
Never in doubt.
Never in doubt. You hit that one. That was a great one.
I needed it.
Panthers plus 9.5.
Oh, Panthers. So right off the gate, 21-0. I'm thinking I had too much faith. We're clawing back. We get it to within 7, and Leonard Fournette goes LSU.
All of a sudden, he just breaks out.
Just breaks a 46-yard run.
Yeah.
Touchdown. And then Steady Teddy, gets down to the 4-yard line to end the game.
So I think we have
4-yard line.
I think we have a little bit of an overreaction now because we may be talking about the Panthers again later.
We're talking about the Panthers, but we'll get to it in the game.
Yeah, so it's kind of like my Syracuse hatred. I'm never betting on Syracuse ever again kind of thing.
But there's a development with the Panthers.
Okay, all right. So your dog of the week, very respectable. Falcons plus 4.5.
Falcons plus 4.5.
If they just freaking laid on the onside kick, it's a winner.
I don't know what they were doing.
Well, I don't know what they were doing either.
I don't know what's happening. But
I don't think anybody knew what they were doing.
Once that game was a 20-point game in the fourth, I didn't even worry about it because I knew I had the points. So
right.
It was fine.
All right, so B-Stew, we made fun of him. Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. The
Jets plus 7, and he was like, "I'm telling you,
I'm
telling you," and I was like, "All right, you just sound so confident that I have to follow you here."
You and I were on offense for the 49ers at the end of the game, and they still beat the Jets.
Dude, they only scored, what did they score, 6 points?
Yeah, it was bad.
I mean, I think we need to just go ahead and hammer whoever they're playing right now. I don't think their offense is
They're playing,
somebody's got a huge spread. The Colts have a 12-point spread against the Jets this week. 12
that might be a little Hail Mary teaser. I don't know.
Maybe. Giants plus 5.5. He backdoored us on that one, so he got that one.
Okay, well, Danny Dimes action.
Yes, Danny Dimes. And then he had Saints minus 5.5. Oh. So we both lost on that one. Dog of the week. Man, if anything, if you guys do anything, follow our dogs of the week. We're on fire right now.
They're barking.
He had Georgia State plus 15.5, and they should have won that game. That was almost an
outright win.
Yeah, I think he almost won that one. So dogs of the week, we're looking golden. Everything else, don't even look at the bottoms. I need to make another one.
Just make a dogs of the week.
I need to make a dog of the week, outright win, and cover.
That's all you need.
Okay.
That's all.
Yeah, let's do that. So what else stuck out to you this week as far as betting goes? Any other games that kind of stuck out to you that
we talked about a little bit on the last podcast, but I still think that after seeing all the quarterback play last week, Joey Burrow still is he's playing phenomenal right now. I know the line's terrible.
Yeah.
I know that he's working with the position players he's got, but I think he's gonna sneak up on some teams this week. I think you saw Mincy talked about it a little bit, sort of that overreaction to a couple teams.
Yes.
Come to fruition. Some went the other way though, like the Eagles I don't know what's going on with Carson Wentz, but they are not a good football team. And
right.
they're just they may get it together, but right now they're not looking great. Obviously, the big thing here locally, our boy's arm is done. Drew Brees' arm is done. So
you're officially there.
I'm officially there.
Now, Jack on One Team One podcast, he's on that train as well, and he's all on the Jameis Winston train.
I'm on the Jameis Winston train as well.
You are?
I am. I think you still use Taysom in the role that you have him in. Mm-hmm. And I think you got Jameis there to be a good backup. That's what you go with now.
I agree with that as far as I don't think Taysom Hill is your answer at quarterback. And if anybody has those delusions, I think you're wasting your time.
I think a big thing also in the NFL, Chargers defense still looking great.
Yeah, front seven, man.
You saw a little bit
now
of
Bosa
Herbert,
got hurt?
But the other Bosa got hurt.
Oh,
49ers
okay.
Bosa
Gotcha.
And unfortunately for Tyrod, he had the injury with the doctor, and Herbert looked good. I am not a Justin Herbert fan. I didn't think he was going to do great in the NFL.
Yeah.
I know it's one game, but threw for 3 bills. He looked pretty good. I think the Buffalo Bills
he can spin it, man.
Real, and
I do
think
too. I think the Buffalo Bills are good. Their defense is good enough with Allen as a combo.
And
there.
I will say, Cam Newton looks the best he's ever looked in his career.
He does.
He
now,
looks phenomenal.
Cam Newton looked really good. The Seahawks still look very good.
Seahawks are the best team in the NFC right now, no questions asked.
Sure. Heard a little bit today about maybe a bounce back for the Saints. Bruce Marshall was talking about that. I think it was Bruce Marshall. One of them saying the Saints could have a bounce back against the Packers.
Well, and that line started at 7, and obviously everybody in America was watching Monday Night Football. It dropped low to 3.5. I don't know what it's at now.
I think it's still 3.5.
Still 3.5.
Which is crazy that the Packers have looked so good. And I think that was the stinky part of it all was that the Packers have looked so good. The Saints are coming off this game, but it's still 3.5 Saints. Makes you kind of wonder, okay, who's the better team here, kind of thing.
Right.
Anyway, we'll jump into we'll talk about college first. And of course my picks are heavy college. They always are. Right. Maybe I need to change that. I don't know. Maybe I'm 2-4, so maybe we need to. But
we got more college football back.
But SEC is starting.
SEC starting.
I feel maybe this is just me, but I feel like I have a good handle of things right now with SEC. And I'm telling you, I feel like I have a great handle of LSU right now. I think people are missing the complete boat on LSU. I think people are downplaying the year that we had last year, and they're contributing to all these other factors. They're saying that we've lost all these guys, so we're not going to be as good. Granted, we're not going to be as good as the production that we had last year, but we're still going to be very, 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 very good. I think they're missing that part. I think it's like an all or nothing deal where all of a sudden we lost everybody and we're going to just regress to back where we were in the Miles days or something. Right. I don't really get it.
Well, and this is the tough thing about LSU. So last year, very early on, we were all sort of shell shocked of, okay, the offense looks good. And we made a decision early in the season. If you were an LSU bettor last year and you made a lot of money off LSU.
I was, and I did.
I did. You made a decision after game 2. You said, I'm going to trust this team. I'm going to ride it. And you kind of saw all year, Vegas was behind the team. It was very much you were getting a couple extra points every week, so you might as well take advantage of them. All the way to the SEC championship game, you're getting Georgia under a touchdown when the offenses put up those numbers on every defense they've played. I don't think that's going to be the case this year. So this is the game. If you feel confident in LSU,
you're getting the points now.
This is the game to bet.
Right, because
if you can get it under 17 for this game, and you believe in this team, that's what you hammer. Because if they come out and they cover that spread,
then boom, it's going to go right back to where it was.
You're not going to have a good game again.
I agree. I think Vegas is waiting around a little bit. They're just a little unsure of things. Right. It's 16.5 is where I saw it.
I had a couple that dipped it under 16.5. Yeah.
That's my lock of the week. LSU minus 16.5.
And are you thinking there, is that more on Mississippi State or is that more on
I think
LSU?
it's a little bit of both. I think all the other talk is all about LSU. None of that talk is about Mississippi State. It actually, what it is you're giving more credit to Mike Leach than you are to Ed Ogeron, and I don't understand it at all. I think it's a complete disservice to Ed Ogeron and the program that we've built here. And I get all the guys that we lost, but I also understand, and I think I said this last time, was I look at the 2018 LSU Tigers and I look at the 2019 LSU Tigers, and I see the differences of those two teams where a lot of people nationally are not seeing.
Yeah.
I think Joe Burrow was a good quarterback. He wasn't a great quarterback. He was a good quarterback. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a very serviceable back. Those guys are like superstars now because of the offense that you put them in. And we still have athletes, and we still have, defensively, I think we're actually going to be better this year, and it fits our offense even more this year. So there's a lot of things that I contribute to this, whereas I think people are only looking at what we've lost. They aren't looking at like, oh, you had 5 stars just sitting on the bench last year. Right. Yeah, we did. Well, we also we're playing a team that is going from a run-based team to a complete spread with no spring practice, and you're just going to say, oh, well, Mike Leach always just puts up 20 points a game. Bull. There ain't no way. I have this, and I've been pretty strong on this. I have it 45-13. I think it's a complete blowout.
Well, and I think the thing that'll be interesting to see is what you just said. The offense, there is, they've had extended practices.
Yes.
That was mentioned this week. But the offense of the air raid is not going to be clicking on all cylinders week 1.
Right.
I don't think if we're expecting that to score the points. What gives me a little bit of pause is you've got the best back in the SEC, minus maybe Najee Harris and Kylan Hill. Mm-hmm. And so the interesting thing will be, does Leach go a little bit more old school, like the year that Texas Tech was pretty good with Crabtree and that gang? They actually ran the ball a pretty good bit, and did some stuff, that added to the pass game. So if he works off of that, then there's a potential. Now, I would say, though, that he had some good backs in some other spots, and he threw the ball a lot with Luke Falk.
I think we were looking at – we had Justin Hillhouse. He's a fan of Mississippi State, and we were looking at some stats from Washington State, and they had Max Borghi was their big running back last year, and he had a lot of carries, and he had a lot of catches. I could see Kylan Hill going out of the backfield a lot, and maybe even a little like LSU did last year. That's another thing. We're talking about this spread offense, and like he's going to throw the ball a ton. This isn't that much different than what LSU ran last year.
Spread doesn't necessarily mean run anymore. Spread can be,
but you're going to
spread it out, open it up. That opens up running lanes as well.
I can see Kylan Hill in the backfield, in motion, going out into the slot. I think our defense is pretty used to seeing this stuff. Yeah. And I heard somebody mention this on the radio today. If you put Stingley on their best receiver, advantage LSU. You put Flott on their next best receiver, advantage LSU. You put name the guy like Ricks coming out. It's I don't know how they're going to be able to get the space that they need to get to the points they need to score to actually cover this.
If you break it down to the simplified Matty math, the offense.
If the offense scores more points than the defense allows,
that's right.
You win the game.
The LSU offense, I think you've got to say, is going to move the ball a little bit better.
Formula.
And you got to say, I think a lot of people are thinking that Mississippi State defense is the same Mississippi State defense we've seen in past years.
Nope.
It's not.
It's not.
They're going to try to be physical,
and
like they always are.
Jack pointed this out. Apparently, their strong safety is a walk-on. So that doesn't bode well.
So that's your lock of the week.
That's my lock. So 16.5 LSU.
Is that official? That's a pick. That's a pick from Matty?
That's a pick.
Okay.
All right. So next pick, Miami minus 11 over Florida State. I saw how bad Florida State was.
And you saw how good Miami was.
I saw Miami. So I saw the first week of Miami. Who were they playing? UAB. They looked decent. They looked very rusty. I didn't like them. Actually, the next week, who were they playing? Louisville. I had Louisville. I thought Louisville was going to come out and kind of just score a lot of points on them, and Miami just looked a lot better.
I like that pick. I mean, the big thing is, you worry about, you watch one game of Florida State and you just watched a blowout against a Louisville team that was ranked but may not actually be that great this year. The thing I will say, though, is Florida State still, I think, is a cohesive unit, not playing great. Norvell's out with COVID, so you've got the assistant coach.
Right. There's a lot of different things here.
There's a lot of variables in play.
Now, do they not like Norvell enough to where they're going to play better?
Yeah. I think really your bet, if you're going with that 11, you're betting on Derek King having a good game.
I am.
And he hasn't proven that he's not going to have a good game against this defense. I mean, we saw Sims move the ball a lot in the second half.
Right.
We saw that Georgia Tech team run the ball pretty well. I mean, they didn't score a ton of points, but they moved the ball well against this defense.
Yes.
And the Miami offense is much more dynamic. So I like that pick.
All right, so next one I have West Virginia plus 6.5 against Oklahoma State. I had Oklahoma State last week. I am the overreaction guy. I had Oklahoma State big over Tulsa last week. Plus, it was minus 23, I think is what the line was. Oklahoma State looked like poo. Their offense looked terrible. Their to me, Chuba Hubbard is a good player, obviously, great player. But he has no quarterback. He has no offensive line.
Do we know if the starting quarterback is playing this?
I saw the starting quarterback play.
Before he got hurt?
Yes, and he was terrible.
Okay.
And then I saw the backup come in, and then I saw the third string come in.
I was too busy watching Tulane
I watched
Navy in the first half.
I watched a lot of it. West Virginia, I think, is going to be able to score enough points to where 6.5 is not going to be a problem. Tulsa pretty much shut down Oklahoma State, and it was shocking to me. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe I was watching a Mike Gundy team.
Right.
The way they were playing, and it seemed like they were just everything was just around Chuba Hubbard to where all they had to do was stack the line and you're done, because there was no credibility for the pass at all because those quarterbacks were so bad. Couldn't believe it.
I think the thing that you've seen in a Gundy offense previously is kind of what we talked about earlier about Mike Leach, but more so with Gundy, that he actually, for his offense to be very successful, put up a lot of points. Everybody thinks about passing the ball, but it's actually a very heavy run-based attack.
Yes.
And so in years past,
just like a spread run.
Just basically. Like a spread run, but you still have to have a quarterback who can throw the ball a little bit. And we haven't really thought about it recently because, you had Mason Rudolph, but really you've had a bunch of guys that are no-name guys, but they can complete a little 10-yard out. They can keep the drive moving, and then he pounds the ball with the run. What you saw last week is that they're still dynamic on the outside a little bit, but they don't have anybody who can get the ball to them. And so, as you mentioned, those teams are stacking the box. And I think it was a little bit, too, of Oklahoma State coming in saying, oh, it's Tulsa. We're going to take this game. And so I'm curious then, how do they react to getting punched in the mouth? How do they play this week? So,
well, I think they're playing a better team this week.
Right.
Right. So that's kind of what I'm going with. Who did I see West Virginia play? They beat them pretty good, and they were scoring some points. And I have that feeling that West Virginia is going to just keep scoring enough to cover a 6.5. I think the 6.5 is crazy. If I can get this at 7.5, that would be even better. I don't know if I can. I'd probably go down. All right, dog of the week. I have Army plus 13 against Cincinnati. Cincinnati, saw them play. Army I've seen twice now. I think Army has got a good enough defense and can run the right type of offense to keep a spread like this down. I see this as like a 7-point game, or Army could win the game. I've seen a lot of Cincinnati over the last couple of years.
You're not buying into the Cincinnati playoff hype?
No, I'm not.
No?
I think that's silly.
Luke Fickell?
Fickle? I've seen Cincinnati play a lot over the last couple of years, and they're to me, they can be a very boring team against a good defense like this. I think Army, with 2 games under their belt, can cover a spread like this. It's on the road. It's in Cincinnati. Not that that means anything this year, but I like Cincinnati. I mean, I like Army with good triple option, a 19-play drive. Like they have the ball for an entire quarter.
Kind of a grinded out low-score game.
And a 13-point spread is coverable. So that's my dog of the week, Army. I'm 2-0 with dog of the week. So
make it 3-0.
That's right.
Dog spark.
Let's go ahead and put the money on the money line, Army. Do yourself a favor and make some money. All right. So the Bear.
All right.
You remember your picks, or you want me to show it to you?
I remember
Okay, there you go.
some of the picks, but I can see them if I need to. So, number 1, we're always going to give you a college pick. So far, I'm kind of feeling out college a little bit. It's not my normal. I'd have threw 5 Hawaii picks already by this time of the year. But we're kind of leaning
Hawaii's back? You said
Hawaii's
it.
back.
You texted me today.
Hawaii's back. Big news.
Hey.
For those of you who know, you know. Hawaii is going to potentially play football this year. The Mountain West announcing they're back. So when you've lost it all, and it's end of the night.
Well, you have
got
like
the bows,
when
baby.
you have like $50 left, and
That's
you're
right.
just
Throw
like,
it on the
hey,
bows.
I'm gonna bet Hawaii in the over and have like a parlay and
That's
like
right.
try to make my money back
That's
for
right.
the day. That's
You
what it
always. I mean, I'm stealing it.
I've never done that.
But it's a common theme. You only lose if you quit betting, Matt.
Oh,
That's a great big cat line there. So Hawaii coming back for us. That's exciting news for everyone. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give you a college football pick. This is it started at 7.5. It hasn't really moved that much. Didn't you say it dipped a little bit right before we got on?
you're talking about 7.5
Yeah.
line.
Let's
Did
check
I
it.
see it?
Basically,
let me pull it up right
We're
now.
going to pull it up. I got it at 7.5 a little bit earlier in the week. It's what the line started at. The Kentucky Wildcats are playing Auburn this week.
Yes.
Okay, so replacing, we're going to start with Auburn, replacing Boo-Boo Whitlow. Okay, so they got a little competition in the running back room. Bo Nix, freshman of the year, he's back. Okay, line's back a little bit.
6.5.
It's at 6.5 now. So what I would do, if I'm you,
is buy that hook.
I'd buy that up to 7.
Okay.
It might be a little too pricey to buy it up to 7.5. We'll call it 7 when we put it online, even though Bear has it 7.5. That's okay.
It's probably minus 115 at 7 right now.
Okay.
Looks like.
I'd buy it up to 7, and I'd take it at 7.
Okay.
Replacing Boo-Boo Whitlow, also something that we're not talking about a lot on that Kevin Steele defense, is we've got Bryant back on the line, but we're replacing everything else. And that's really what shut down LSU last year. That's what shut down a lot of attacks last year.
Yeah.
Is when you've got Brown and you've got Davidson, you really can have those linebackers just attack the line.
Yeah, they're free flowing.
And
right.
now those guys are gone. They're replacing that. So I think that's a big thing. With Kentucky, you've got Terry Wilson coming back. He got hurt last year. And then you went to the Lynn Bowden offense, which actually was really kind of fun to watch. He wasn't a good quarterback, but it was fun to watch.
You have a great offensive line.
You got a good offensive line coming back. You've got 3 of the 5 starters last year coming back. Starting running back coming back. Talent on the outside. Defense is returning a good bit of starters. So I think Bob Stoops just had – not Bob Stoops. Mark Stoops. I'm losing track of Stoops brothers. Mark Stoops just came with his best recruiting class since he's been at Kentucky. And I think they hang in early. Everybody knows Malzahn's offense gets up and running towards the middle to end of the year. I think they're going to be a little bit sluggish starting out at the beginning, and I think Kentucky holds it within a touchdown.
I like it. I like the 7.5. And we don't. Well, we'll talk about this one later. There's another one too that I kind of like if you can get the line right. All right. So what else you got? I know that you're usually NFL heavy, right?
Usually NFL heavy, and I love a ton of NFL picks this week. We'll talk about it towards the end. My next pick is Chargers minus 6.5.
Okay.
Getting it under that number. As we talked about earlier in the show with Tyrod out, Herbert looked good, and I think the offense is going to move that much better.
Now, they're playing the Panthers. Is that correct?
They're playing the Panthers.
So last week you had the Panthers.
Last week I had the Panthers.
Plus, are you overreacting now?
No.
Or you're like, no, they're that bad.
No C-Mac in this game.
That's right. He's
no
gone.
C-Mac in this game.
Wow. I'm surprised this line isn't higher.
No C-Mac in this game. as we talked about a little bit earlier in the show, the Chargers defense is one of the best in the AFC.
I can't believe this line is this low.
The Panthers, I just don't really know how they're going to move the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, Teddy moved the ball all right last week. But at that point, I think they were down 21, and Bucks kind of let off the gas a little bit. So I like the Chargers to.
I love this one now. I forgot about the Christian McCaffrey stuff. Like again, I follow college a lot more than the pros, but man, I like that a lot. I can't believe this isn't over 7. It makes me wonder about
I agree.
this
Makes
a
you
little bit.
wonder, but I'm gonna trust it.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Herbert, who I'm not a big fan of, but he looked great last week. I think he's gonna continue to move the ball. Third pick, I think a little bit of overreaction here. We saw a good Cardinals team play great against the Washington football team.
Yes.
All right. And I think we saw a Cleveland defense get after a putrid Cincinnati offensive line.
Correct.
And so now Cleveland is given a touchdown to Washington, and I do not get it.
I agree with that.
And so we're gonna go +7 on the Washington football team.
And I have it on the flyer. It's going to say football team +7. I think
+7.
everybody's going to understand what I'm saying.
Everybody's gonna get it.
If I said Washington, it's going to look like the University of Washington, even though they're not playing yet. I like this because I agree with you. The Browns got after a defensive line. Like Myles Garrett, I mean, I could have done a better job against Myles Garrett that day. But I also like the Redskins. Who did they beat?
The football team.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The football team. Who did they beat?
They beat the Eagles.
The Eagles. And they kind of, to me, they got after. It was another spread similar like this against the Eagles, if not more. Right. And they actually won outright. So,
and we talked earlier, are the Eagles any good?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think Cleveland has showed you anything other than
well, here's another thing about Washington.
Hanging in with the Cincinnati team.
Washington's defensive line is good enough to cover a spread like this.
It's good.
They can dominate the line of scrimmage and give Baker Mayfield all kinds of problems.
Not bad. And Haskins, I mean, for all of his faults, I mean, he Scary Terry. Yeah. Tearing up those defenses. So I did not see anything that showed me last week that they should be getting a touchdown against Washington.
I like this. I like all of these picks.
Maybe that's good. Maybe that's
Kentucky. Yeah. Is that a death sentence right there? The Kentucky, if it's at 6.5. If it was at 7.5, I would like it a little bit better. You have it. I'm going to give it to you at 7.5 here for your picks. But in real life, I don't know if I'm going to be able to.
You want to meet in the middle? Go at 7?
7, I
Tell
like.
them to buy it up.
7 is good. I feel like it's a push.
All right.
I feel like it's a push. Okay, let's go to your dog of the week.
Dog of the week, the Texas State Bobcats and Jake Spavital. And they're getting 18 against the Warhawks. Is that correct?
No. Texas State?
Yeah.
I thought they were playing Boston College.
They're playing.
Am I wrong?
Wrong birds. You're right. Boston College.
So you have, is that correct?
It's my other pick of the week is gonna.
Yes.
Is gonna be
Okay.
Yeah. They're playing Boston College, and I just.
So you're good with this though. I didn't mess up, huh?
No, I'm good with this.
Okay.
18. I think it's a huge overreaction seeing Boston College play Duke, and everybody's on the train now.
Duke minus 5.5 was my pick last week.
I know
right?
it was.
Okay.
I know it was. Right. So got skyrocketed up. Texas State's been
playing 18.5 now,
by
the way. It's
good
still going.
They've been playing good football this year. I think they're going to keep it close. I'm not saying it's not going to be a 2-touchdown game, but I think they keep it within the number, and I think that Boston College is new coach, new spread attack, so they were playing well next week, but I don't think this number should be this inflated.
So, all right, after I did the 5.5 Duke pick, and is going closer and closer to game time, and everybody, and the line's going down. It was all the way down to like 3.5. It was bet all the way down, and I'm like, what am I missing about the Duke game? Like, what am I missing about Boston College here? Like, Duke is better than Boston College. People started chiming in on a couple of our Twitter accounts, and one of the guys apparently was from the Northeast and said, all right, now that I forget the guy's name that used to coach there forever. Adazio was basically so predictable in offense, and they were recruited very well during his time. And it was kind of like a Les Miles situation where they always felt like if they could get their guys out in like space and on the boundary, like they could do very well with the athletes that they have. But they were always playing this very one-dimensional A.J. Dillon, like up the middle.
Right.
And so this was right at kickoff, and I was like, okay, I don't believe it though. And then sure enough, I'm watching the game, and Boston College looks great.
I don't care.
They look good. Defensively, they were shutting down. They could shut down Duke. Duke had nothing to like come back with them at. Yeah. So here you go. Dog of the week.
Dog of the week.
Didn't mean to crap on your dog of the week
let's
there,
go Bobcats.
Bear. Yeah. Texas State plus 18 for the Bear. Remember, guys, our dog of the week's picks are great. All right, B. Stu. He didn't give me any explanation this time, but I'm sure I can kind of follow this a little bit. First pick, Florida minus 13.5 against the Ole Miss Rebels.
Love it.
You love it?
I love it. I think there's that Grantham defense. You're going to try to – I still don't know who's starting. I think it's going to be Corral because I think that fits traditionally better with Lane's offense. And I just think, I mean, we're going to see it in the LSU game if we believe it to be true, our opinion earlier, that it's a new coach, it's a new system. You're going against an established coach and an established system.
Yeah.
That defense, I know that Florida lost some weapons, but you've got Trask. You're telling me I got to pick between Kyle Trask or Matt Corral or John Rice? It's not even. I think I would take this number all the way up to 17.
Okay. Do it like an alternate line deal.
Yeah. But I'm saying if the number starts going the other way, take it all the way up to 17. But at 13.5, I love it. Right under the 2 touchdown line.
I don't love it.
You wearing your powder blue glasses?
No. If this was at 14.5, I would be very tempted to take an Ole Miss here. I am not as big.
So why don't you love it at 13.5 the other way?
Just because a 2 touchdown game, I don't like that. I could see it at 14.5 a little bit better than 13.5. I'm not as big on Florida as other people are. I think Kyle Trask is a serviceable quarterback. I think their defense is good. I could see a team scoring points against them though, similar to what we did last year. I know it's not the same thing.
You think Matt Corral is going to score points against him?
I think Lane Kiffin needs to decide what he's going to do on offense with his quarterbacks. If Matt Corral is in at quarterback, John Rice Plumlee needs to be on the field. And they need to figure out a way to do that. And I think something tricky like that could mess with Florida. I don't think Florida is this world beater that everybody thinks they are.
I don't think they're a world beater. I don't see a solid performance from Ole Miss in week 1. I think we're giving Lane a lot of credit, which, hey, Lane has done some cool
defensively,
things.
I have no idea what Ole Miss is going to bring to the table.
They've got a new
Take the over. Take the over.
Defensive coordinator. They've got just a new system that they're running. And I think one thing that we talked about earlier, you've got more practices, but – I mean, not just not having a full spring, not having all that the time then to implement that as much in summer.
Right.
I think it's going to make a difference for these new coaches.
I agree.
And I would realistically SEC this week, I'd be fading new coaches as much as I
like
could.
it. I like that a lot. Now
I hear what you're saying though. I know you hate Florida.
Over under 58
in that game.
Yes, I don't hate it. Tell you that.
That's I think that line might be pretty accurate.
38-21 type of game, something like that. All right, so next pick, he's got the New York Football Giants.
New York Football Giants, Danny Dimes.
+4. Our boy loves the Giants.
One thing about the Giants, obviously this week, Saquon's out.
Who they got?
Shepard's out. They're both on IR, but they are playing the San Francisco 49ers.
That's right. I see it at 3.5 now.
Mostert out. Have Jimmy Garoppolo also probably out. Solomon Thomas and the Bosa brother that you mistaken earlier.
Yes.
Like I was screwing up. Stoops brothers are both on IR. Sherman's been banged up. I don't know if he's out for this game.
But they could still basically shut down the Jets at any time.
They could shut down the Jets at any time. But the Giants, I don't think so. I think the Giants signed Devontae Freeman this week. I know he hasn't played, but I actually think
he was a free agent. He was just out there.
Agent. I think he
That's
made
crazy.
Somebody was saying, if you listen to Bart Scott this morning, Bart was saying that he
can't wait.
He can't stop a nosebleed. He thought that Devontae Freeman actually is going to run inside the tackles a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit better for the play action. Wasn't saying that they'll be better without Saquon, but that he thought that was a good fit there.
Okay.
And I just think this week that it's going to be a little too much for San Francisco to overcome.
Okay.
And so I love that pick.
Well, our boy just loves himself some Daniel Jones, my friend.
Does love the Giants.
He loves Daniel Jones. If him and Daniel Jones are like BFFs.
That's right.
So, all right. The next pick is the Ravens -3 against the Chiefs, and I see it at 3.5. It's gone up to 3.5 now against the Chiefs.
I have a rule in life.
Monday Night Football.
I have a rule in life. I don't bet against Patrick Mahomes.
You don't?
I don't do it. He's just too.
There is something to, and I know it's completely different this year because there's no fans basically, but and I think there's 0 fans in Baltimore, by the way, because it's in Maryland. But a primetime Monday night game, home favorite kind of situation. If it's at 3, I don't mind it, but 3.5 is tough to bet against the Chiefs. What'd you say?
Yeah, it's tough. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm probably going to stay away from the game and just enjoy it. But
Chiefs got a tough game last week with the Chargers, and that front seven gave them a little bit more fits than normal.
And the Ravens have bolstered their front seven. They signed Calais Campbell. They
Patrick Queen's running around there like crazy.
Right. So they bolstered that defense to stop Kansas City.
Okay.
But like I said, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can go against Patty Mahomes, but. Beast 2 going on the left side.
I'm kind of with you. It's tough for me to do that. It's kind of like betting on the Jets. All right, so dog of the week for old Beast Stew. He's got the Bengals +4.5 against the Eagles. I absolutely stone cold love this.
I love
pick.
it.
Love it.
Love it. Well, all the things we just talked about. The Eagles have not proven that they can stop anyone.
Nope.
Carson Wentz.
They have no offense.
Carson Wentz looks like what I love about Todd McShay. He is always wrong on his sleeper, white, 6'4" quarterback. Blaine Gabbert, Blake Bortles. Looks like Carson Wentz just getting added to the pile. He has looked atrocious in the first 2 weeks. And I don't know if it's been the injuries, obviously a couple years ago, MVP candidate. But he has not been great. The only saving grace for the Eagles has got Miles Sanders, and he's been running the ball okay.
He's all right.
But I think I like this week. I think they keep it close. Again, the only thing I would be worried about with that is Miles Sanders. Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb ran the ball pretty effectively against the Bengals defense last week. Mm-hmm. But I do like that pick.
I think the Bengals are going to try to. To me, they got. Ripped apart on their offensive line last week, and they were still able to score points. I think they're going to figure out a way to get Burrow out of pressure situations more and more as the year goes on because they know that their offensive line is a problem. And it's going to open up the field a little bit more for him. He's still putting throws on the money.
Yeah.
Like darts.
Yeah. Every once in a while you see a little bit of an overthrow, a little miscommunication, but he looked great in the second half last week, and I think he's going to still.
Well, we talked about there was one play where we talked about that he can't do this anymore.
Right.
Like he can't do the spin move out of the pocket anymore. That doesn't work in the NFL. Right. And I think he's going to learn his lessons on those kind of situations. I agree with you. I think the Eagles are a complete mess. Yeah. I think Carson Wentz is about to be a big bust. I think he's solid. He's like an Andy Dalton to me.
Yeah, I would say
they're gonna have to.
I would say he's got more natural talent than Andy Dalton, but the injuries I think have just been taking a toll on him.
I agree.
He does not look quite as athletic as he was before. Because of that, he's missing some throws. Mm-hmm. But we'll see. Maybe he'll prove us all wrong this week, and do the thing.
Well, those are our picks, guys. We had our 3-packs, and then we have our dogs of the week. What other games are tickling your fancy, Adam?
You want to start with college?
Let's go with college first, yeah.
Okay. So one thing that I mentioned a little bit earlier, and I know you're a little bit wary of this, but I really liked – we had 6 turnovers last week in the Georgia Tech game. I think that, well, it'll strike me. We're going to knock on wood right here. You're not having 6 turnovers again. Syracuse is
not against Syracuse.
They've covered a couple games, but they've looked pretty mediocre. I think Georgia Tech can move the ball pretty good, and I like right now that line is dropping.
I have it at 7.5.
It's at 7.5. It started at 7.5. It went up to almost 10, and now it's back down. So I'd wait a little bit closer to game time, see if I could get that at 7 or maybe 6.5.
Okay.
But I like that there.
Ooh, I have a hard time putting points on Georgia Tech at this point, but I do like the fact that I'm not touching it at all because Syracuse is involved. I'm not touching it.
He's not touching it. The other game,
what am I talking about?
Mizzou had some COVID potential issues.
Okay. Yes.
First coach. They're giving 28 to Alabama. I heard you and Jack talk about it this week. That is a 40-point game. That is a 55-10 game.
I have it at 28.5.
I'm going to take Alabama. I'm going to take Alabama all the way up to 35. I don't think it's going to be close. Alabama, first game of the year, they start off strong. They're going to run the ball a lot.
Yep.
Another one, we're giving up another big number, but a team we saw last week, we just talked about Georgia Tech. I thought UCF looked good. They got some good weapons.
Yep.
Gabriel looked good. They're playing ECU this week. Line's at 27.5 right now. ECU did not have a single spring practice.
Went down to 27 already.
It's at 27. Yep. I also would be looking at UCF there.
I agree.
Not national champs, but looking good nonetheless.
Right.
And then in terms of the rest of the games, we got a little, I don't know if you've got a sounder here, Minor Nation update.
Yeah, Minor Nation.
Minor Nation. Throw the pick. Okay, so this week, and
for those of you
who don't know, we took UTEP week 1, and it was atrocious.
Our boy Bear, he loves UTEP, and the reason why is because the Bear Process Safety logo, it's exactly like Minor Nation, same color scheme and everything. Minor Nation update.
Great city of El Paso.
Yeah.
So Minor Nation update. They're getting 9.5 this week against the ULM Warhawks, who have looked awful.
And UTEP's 2-1. So
UTEP's 2-1. Hey, they played the Texas Longhorns. That's a Kurt Herbstreit playoff pick this year, okay? So, they beat the powerhouse that is Abilene Christian and the Lumberjacks of Stephen F. Austin. So, this week, they're playing ULM. They're getting 9.5. Might also do what we did on the Georgia Tech line, wait a little bit, see if we can get that up to 10.
Yeah.
But love that pick. Not going to take this game, but it's a similar I'm not going to take it because you still can't pronounce the quarterback's name.
At Georgia?
At Georgia. But Georgia is minus 28
Dwayne Mathis? Is that right?
That's not right.
Oh.
It's Dewan
Mathis?
Dewan Mathis?
Might be Dewan Mathis. Never heard of the guy.
They're giving 28 to Arkansas. We all know Arkansas is going to be terrible. Felipe Franks is the quarterback.
Yep.
So you're going
to I hate Felipe Franks with all my life. I actually think that Arkansas is not going to be as bad as people predict, but with their schedule, they're still 1-9 or something like that.
I think it's between Arkansas and Vandy. They may both be 0-10.
Yeah, both of them be 0-10. I think Arkansas, they have Missouri could be a game that they could squeak out kind of thing. But I could see them playing a couple games pretty close the way their style is. If you're high on Georgia
this year, that's a good one to look for. I'm not going to take that game. I just wanted to bring it up, though, because not quite as high on Georgia, especially with the quarterback situation.
Yeah.
Now, if JT Daniels is playing, which I don't know if he is.
No, he's not. He won't play in this game.
Okay.
They need to wait a little bit on JT Daniels, get him healthy. This is a game they can afford to do it. The thing about Georgia is their defense is great. Can Arkansas score 3 points, 7 points, 10 points? I don't think they can. So are we talking about like a 35-3 game? You cover.
Right.
So
what is your feeling on the nightcap, the Tennessee South Carolina game?
Man, I'd love to say Tennessee here, 3.5. I think South Carolina is a scrappy team. I think Will Muschamp is coaching for his job here. They got some crazy looking quarterback now, like normal. Feels like they always have some weirdo quarterback at South Carolina.
Somebody who sounds like he has been wearing Southern Marsh shirts his entire life.
Yeah, or like, I'm about to go fishing after this.
That's right.
That kind of guy.
Steven Garcia is only come around once in a generation.
Defense is always very good for South Carolina.
Right.
And here's my X factor, and it's a negative one for Tennessee. Jared Guarantano is your quarterback. I don't know what to expect from this guy.
He looked good towards the end of the season.
He looked terrible at the beginning of the season.
But their competition went down at the end of the season.
I don't know. It's hard for me to put points on Tennessee. So if I were going to bet it, and I'm not, it would be South Carolina at the 3.5. If it was under 3, I might go Tennessee. But the 3.5, I could see a 2017 game easy out of something like this.
I think I'm gonna take the 3.5, and I'm gonna enjoy the game no matter what. So it'll be a small bet. But I'm going to take the 3.5 and go with the Cox.
Here's a couple of games that I have my eye on, and you already mentioned this UCF game. I think, is it Dylan Gabriel?
Yep.
Dylan Gabriel, quarterback at UCF. They look like they can score some points. East Carolina, I heard the same thing with limited practices. I feel like that's one that could get out of hand, and it could be like a 56 to 14 type game. I even might look at a first half line on something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to live bet.
Not going to live
I'm
bet.
not going to do it.
We are team retired.
If I talk about live betting, anybody, y'all slap my hand real quick.
Just
okay?
knock the
Not going to do it. Oklahoma, I'm very interested to see what Oklahoma looks like against Kansas State. Kansas State's coming off of a bad loss. But I'm very interested to see what Spencer Rattler looks like with the Oklahoma offense. 27.5 is too much for me to bet. I'm not going to do that, but very interested to take a look at this one because that line is so high. If they cover this spread, man, you look out. You might see some Oklahoma action. That Oklahoma Texas game is in the near future. We're going to be looking at like a college football playoff semifinal kind of situation in that game. A couple others. Iowa State, TCU. TCU +3 against Iowa State. Iowa State looked like poo. They looked bad against ULL. They did.
You don't believe in Billy Napier?
No, I do. But Iowa State couldn't score. Like that's 14 true. Points with this great quarterback coming back.
Can you name me one player from the TCU Horned Frogs?
Marcel Brooks. Thank you very much. Yeah, so let's go down the list. I've already given you the West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech. A lot of people are on Texas right now. Texas Tech had a close game with Houston Baptist in the first week.
Not a good look.
If I could put money on this, I would put it on Texas. I'm not going to even play this one. It's 17.5. It's too much. You like it? I can see the look in your eye.
There's some big numbers this week that I know normally early in the year we're going to say, hey, we're not going to roll with this. But I think some of these teams, you have a small number of games.
Yeah.
They're going to be trying to make a statement. I think Oklahoma.
Texas is one of them.
Texas is one. Oklahoma, you mentioned earlier. I know it's a lot, but going against Kansas State.
I mean, Kansas State beat them last year.
I know.
That's a lot.
I know.
You think, but it actually could be a little bit of a revenge factor.
Right.
You're talking me into
just think
you're talking me into it.
I just think Rattler is. Right. He might even be better in this Lincoln Riley offense than the quarterbacks have.
I like Rattler. I think he's a douchebag of a guy, but I like him as a quarterback.
You know him very well.
Yeah. So Alabama, you said this earlier. You talked about this one. I love Alabama here. I agree with you. I think if you find an alternate line, you try to bet it up and get you some better odds. Just make the money on it. If you want to do a parlay, add Alabama in it and maybe do a couple other things along with it. I think that's a great pick. Actually, Alabama, LSU, and then one other I think is a great 3-team parlay right now. B Stew's going to say that I'm always picking he says that I pick all the favorites.
That's right.
I'm always picking the favorites, and I'm a homer.
Right.
Baylor, Kansas is very interesting to me. I'm not going to bet it because there's so many unknowns, but Kansas is plus 17.5. Baylor has had all these issues with games getting postponed. This is their first game of the season. Dave Aranda, I want to kind of see what they look like.
I give you my one last one to watch.
Sure, let's go.
Vanderbilt's getting 30.5 against A&M. A&M's playing Alabama next week.
Okay.
Little spot.
Are we putting money on Vanderbilt here?
I'm
Come
just
on
saying.
now.
I'm just saying.
This is
something
crazy.
To look at.
Nobody's going to follow this podcast
30
ever
and a
again.
half. I'm not telling you to bet the mortgage on it. I'm just telling you. Now, this is what I will tell you to bet the mortgage on, even though it was not in my stack of picks.
Okay.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are giving 4 to the Houston Texans. And it proved to me last week, it's going to keep proving Bill O'Brien is Bill O'Brien.
Okay.
There's no offensive line. Deshaun's got no weapons. I feel bad for the guy. And I'm not telling you the Pittsburgh Steelers are world beaters, but I'm telling you what you need to start doing is you need to start thinking about the Houston Texans like you think about the New York Jets. You need to start thinking about the fact of if they are playing and they are not getting more than a touchdown, I am going to bet the other team.
Wow.
In every circumstance.
Now, the Steelers have a good defense too, man. So
Steelers have a good defense. I'm not sold on their run game. That's the only thing. I mean, Benny Snell's looked okay. Connor is, I don't know what's going on with him.
I like Snell. I like Benny Snell.
Ben's back a little bit. He's throwing the ball around. I'm more about the Houston Texans. I know all my Houston fan friends, my VP over at Bear Process Safety is going to tell me, they're still going to go 8-8. I'd put under on the Texans this year. If it was still out, I'd put even more on them right now because I don't trust them. I haven't trusted them in years when they've had superior talent to some teams, and now they just don't have any talent.
What do you think about this crazy line? Colts minus 12 against the Jets, our beloved Jets. Beastu, you're not picking the Jets this week? You don't want to take the 12?
He doesn't want to take the 12.
You took the 7.5 last week.
So what I would say is with that, I definitely it's a little bit of what Mincy's talked about is trusting Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
And I can't get out of my head. It's 3:25 Eastern. And the Chargers are playing, and Phillip Rivers has thrown 3 picks, and I'm stealing a bit from somebody else, but it's true, so that's why I'm doing it. And then he's trying to come back, and they just lose because he threw another pick.
Right.
And I can't. I mean, they won a game last week where they looked really good, but same situation week 1. They had no business in week 1 losing that game. And I similar situation here where I need to see this a little bit more to see. Now, one thing that could be is you've now got Jonathan Taylor in the offense. He's a little bit more of a dynamic back. The Colts defense still playing good. If you want to go 11.5, I like that number better under 10.
Yeah.
But
like a teaser situation,
right,
that kind of thing.
Exactly.
All right.
The last good NFL line that I will say is Tampa Bay Bucks minus 5.5 against Denver. Denver does not have Drew Lock. We've got Jeff Driscoll starting the game.
Yeah.
I just don't think Denver's going to be able to score and be able to move the ball.
Tough front seven, man.
Boye's out, I think maybe again. So their coverage is
Bucks
hurting.
have a great front seven.
I think the Bucks have a good front seven, as you mentioned. So I know that's a couple favorites. We had some dogs in our picks. I like some of Beastu's picks that had some dogs.
Yep.
So that's what we're going with there. And do you want me to talk about how last week was actually a really successful week for the Bear?
Yes, please.
Okay, so every week, boys and girls, this is what we call it, and we call it this because it used to be, I had no other bets left. I had $30 in my account.
Okay.
And I would put in what I called the Hail Mary teaser.
Hail Mary.
The Hail Mary teaser.
I like it.
I got so good at hitting Hail Mary teasers that about 2 years ago, I decided every week we would have a Hail Mary teaser. You can go a unit if you want. It's a 2-unit bet.
Okay.
And whatever your bookie lets you do, if it's a 6-team or if it's an 8-team, you go max. and you go Hail Mary teaser. So it's a 6 to 8 team teaser.
Okay.
We got a couple rules. You don't cross 0. That's rule number 1 on teasers.
Okay.
Okay. You don't cross 0 because you lose that value when you cross 0.
Okay.
And you try to look for lines, if possible, that cross 2 key numbers. So we're talking about 10s, 7s, 3s, 4s, depending on what you're looking at.
Gotcha.
And that's where we go with it. So last week, first of the year, week 2, we hit a Hail Mary teaser. 7-team Hail Mary teaser. It was capped off by Patty Mahomes and my boy Harrison Buckner.
Buckner, man.
Kicking in that field goal, and it was awesome. We celebrated
So that's what won it for you?
That's what won it.
Oh, my
That's
gosh.
what won it. So last week, if we want to recap it, I'll give you the trade
Yes,
secrets
give me the whole deal.
I'll give you the trade secrets here. So last week, we're gonna go. This is great. This is great podcasting. But you're gonna love it. You're all gonna love it.
Yeah. You're
if
scrolling.
it
It's
loads.
waiting. Yeah, it's good loading.
All right. So last week, we had the Green Bay Packers. That was a pick 'em. If you tease it 6. For those you don't know, a teaser, you're going to get points on it. You can try that range, but normally it's a max 6 points. Odds go down a little bit, but if you lump a bunch of them together, you can get a 20 to 1.
That's
right. And I know what you're thinking out there. These never hit. I'll tell you, last year, 8 Hail Mary teasers between NFL and college. The Bear hit last year. So we're going last week it was Green Bay a pick'em, KC minus 2.5, the Bengals plus 12, Baltimore minus 1, Buffalo getting a half a point, Carolina plus 15.5. That was a 14-point game.
And you still hit. Oh my gosh!
Hit it. And the Atlanta Falcons plus 11.
Okay, the Atlanta one was fine. The Panthers, that's
so I'm telling you all this to tell you that this week, I'm going to pull it up.
All right.
We got a Hail Mary teaser for you if you want to follow.
I'm writing it down.
I'm telling you, we're going to hit one of these.
Hail
you're just going to love it.
Teaser.
You're going to love it.
Go ahead.
I'm pulling it up. Now. I'm seeing what we got.
I may have to put this on part of our week picks.
As part of the weekly
the
picks.
Bears
All
Hail
right?
Mary teaser.
So it's an NFL teaser, all right, that we got this week.
Okay.
And I pulled bear with me.
Oh, come on.
Play some music.
This is a professional podcast.
Play some music in the background.
Okay, I'll play some music.
I'm forgetting my picks here, all right? I'm getting old. Bear is getting old. All right, so we've got an NFL teaser this week.
Okay.
And we are going.
This is how many teams?
This is an 8-team teaser. Okay.
Okay, 8 teams.
We're going Giants. You tease it up. That's going to be a plus 10er.
Giants plus 10.
Redskins plus 13.5. Bengals plus 11.5. You sort of teased this for me earlier. We're going to go Colts minus 4.5.
Okay.
You get the Cards at a pick'em. You get the Bucks at a pick'em. You get the Seahawks plus a half a point against the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
And you get the Steelers plus 2.
That's it?
That's it. That's the 8 teams right there.
All right, let's recap that again. We got Giants plus 10.
Giants plus 10.
What else we got now?
We got the
Washington
football team plus 13.5.
Plus 13.5.
The Bengals plus 11.5.
Bengals plus 11.5. Okay, gotcha.
Colts minus 4.5. Cards at a pick'em. Bucks at a pick'em.
Okay.
Seahawks plus a half. And Steelers plus 2.
Okay.
What I'll tell you is take a look at these. If your books are a little bit off and you're not crossing those numbers, you can think about it. But you're getting some points here. So, and these are some games. The key is these are some games we like straight up. So we're going to get that little bit of bonus on them, a little tease on them, especially for big favorites like the Cardinals and the Bucks. That's what we're going to do. All right, so
like it.
We're gonna be ecstatic. That's the one I feel the most confident about. So that's what I'm gonna give you about this week, and we'll see what happens.
I'm gonna post this, guys. I'll post the Bears Hail Mary teaser.
Hail Mary teaser.
Check it out. We're gonna post all of our 3-pack picks, and we're gonna post our dogs of the week. You guys need to jump on the dog of the week. We are hitting them.
Doing phenomenal.
It's been fantastic.
It's making that money. Money.
Well, it's not making me money. I haven't been betting the dog of the week. I bet my 3-pack picks, but I don't bet the dog of the week.
In theory, it is making money if you bet it.
Yeah.
Not you personally.
Yeah, it has not made me money, but it would make me money.
The universal you.
Correct. I agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there you have it. I'm going to send those out to you guys. Big thanks to Adam Berry and Bear Process Safety, man.
That's right.
Doing great work. I'm going to post all of his information out on our Facebook page. You can look for us on doing some more live streams, and we'll have B Stew in the studio eventually.
Have B Stew in. Everybody, Hawaii's back.
What's that?
Hawaii is back.
Hawaii is back.
Right.
And
So
don't
excited.
forget, there's one thing you can't forget. There's nothing better than betting on a home dog. See you guys next week.
Let's go. Let's make that money.
I said stop.